we should probably just get to this, and I should just cop to it right up front. We will get to our phone calls in a bit. Let me just sign into the. Where are we here? What happened to that? Oh, here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that many of you are aware that back in the day, as it were, I was a performer. This video has been unearthed from the show entitled Pajama Jam, the Midnight Pajama Jam. This was a show put on by John Benjamin. You'll notice John Benjamin and John Glazer in this show. At the time, I was...
That name seems very John Benjamin-y. But is that just your guys, the Pajama Jam?
Yes, that was a John Benjamin production. I think people can read about that. I think Vulture did a story on his failed kid show. And at the time, I was in between gigs, and I was doing what a lot of people do, is exploit some of their physicality for money. And I didn't do too well, to be honest. There is not the market for this type of performance that one would expect. However, I did perform this professionally for a couple of years. I didn't, like I said, I didn't do too well, but I was recruited to do this performance at Midnight Pajama Jam. I think this was probably 20 years ago.
That's a really gross sound.
Yeah. So gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeffrey Tubin, everybody.
That was my stage name at the time. That was my stage name, and so that was the famous calf dance. That was part of the Midnight Pajama Jam.
Why do they look like, greased up chickens?
Well, because they were greased up, and at the time I had chickens implanted into my calves, and so that's why they look like that. I mean,
that looks like the precursor to the butt implants that we're seeing these days, right?
I think a
little cartoonish.
Old school Majority Report listeners will know that in the mid-aughts that was the probably peak calf time for me. My calves were at their peak. I was had been riding a bike in New York City for 8 years by that point. So by 2004, my calves were extremely developed. But certainly, as you can see, in the early 2000s, they were still pretty good. Once you got them greased up. So
I have another question. Did you shave your legs?
Those calves were shaved. Yes.
Yeah, they were shaven.
Not the entire leg, just the calf area was.
Well, that's what mothers in the 1930s told their daughters. You can shave your legs, but only below the knee. So I'm glad you had decorum.
Well, I didn't shave the front either. It was really just the back. There was. We were very committed to our performings back then. And so
yeah, as revolting as I found that, I do want to say that I haven't seen Crowder do anything fun here. So what does Steve want to put up against that little calf dance?
Right, and frankly, I'm curious to see his calves. I mean, I think when I did that dance, I was probably the same age as Steven Crowder. Crowder, works out. I'd never ever lifted any weights at any time. In fact, I will also say that John Glazer, still to this day, probably within the past couple of weeks, will send pictures of calves that he sees out and about to see if they compare with mine. So I really made an impression on him.
Brandon, you have something to say?
Calf shots.
No, I don't.
I think Brendan was gonna add, in terms of Crowder's. Hard to do a leg day when he's lifting weights with his cold feet, because probably can't even Probably can't even be aware that he's actually doing any leg exercises because feet are so cold.
Oh no, that dude
they're
strikes
numb.
me as just a, upper body day, 6 out of 7 days, and then maybe he'll do some treadmill work on a Sunday.